that it works for SMEs, that there's always an attendant increase in income and income per capita. We have stories from Brazil, stories from Singapore, yeah, New Zealand. And the focus of credit reporting itself is the SMEs, not the large corporates, but SMEs. And the focus of the government of today is also SMEs. I don't know if you all know about, if you've read the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, which speaks about what the government wants to do, the government's plans. There are three pillars. One is restoring growth. The other one is investing in our people. The third one is building a competitive economy. And in building a competitive economy, the government is focusing on two pillars. One is building infrastructure, and the other one is the enabling environment. Talking about enabling environment, how do you make regulation work for businesses? So, in July 2016, PEBEC was launched. The focus basically was to remove critical bottlenecks and bureaucratic constraints to doing business in Nigeria. The PEBEC model, as it is, PEBEC comprises the chair, which is Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, SAN, GCON. The vice chair is the Minister of Trade, Investment, Trade, Industry and Investment. And then there are 10 other council members comprising key ministers that are relevant to the business environment. We have the head of civil service of the Federation. We have the governor of CBN. We have representatives from the National Assembly and from Lagos and Kano states. You'll see the reason for this as we go ahead. So we have EBS, which is the secretariat itself, the Enabling Business Environment Secretariat. And EBS works with various NDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies of the government on a regular basis to carry out reforms in certain areas. These areas you will see as we go ahead. But then the model is such that there's to the council, and then the council in order to make the agenda a national agenda. This is the Federal Executive Council. Okay, and how is this done? So there are various reforms that will help remove obstacles to businesses. So we have various reform areas. We have entry and exit of people. These are more like indicators, modules across 11 areas to help us dimension how we do these reforms. So we have entry and exit of people, where we have immigration reform, airport concession. We have trading across borders, where we have post reforms. The plan was to have civil service reforms as a whole, and then of course legislative reform, which led to the Credit Reporting Act. This progressed to having more reforms as we continued over the last 2 years. We looked at deployment of national single window, deployment of scanners, that's trading across borders at the port, implementation of 48-hour visa processing time, deployment of iCheck systems. We looked at simplification of visa on arrival process, upgrade of airport infrastructure, streamlining of import and export procedures, reduction of documentary requirements for import and export, starting a business, we looked at reducing the time it takes to start a business, and then some other technological adoptions. So, what's progress today? How does ED or PEBIT in general, how do we do it? So, between 2017 and 2018, we implemented 3 short-term national action plans, which we call the accelerators. So the accelerators are for us to drive these reforms over like a 60-day period. Process, put in accountability, ensure there's transparency, ensure that we can monitor each of the initiatives that have been developed. So each MDA will take ownership of what they have to do, but it's for us to drive. Its implementation. So this also, you can say this is underpinned by the Executive Order 1, which was launched by His Excellency the Vice President when he was the acting president last year. The Executive Order has 5 pillars. One is transparency. The other is one government. One is about ports operations. The 4th one, entry experience of travelers. And the 5th is default approvals. For transparency, the idea is for all MDAs to publish a list of all their fees, service charters as it concerns licensing, approvals, etc. Then on one government, we expect the different MDAs that require inputs from one another to act as one government. So you don't go, if you need to submit like your tax certificate, and you need to submit also like your if you need to get a permit that will require input from FIRS, input from CAC, the idea is that all of them should work together so that you drop your certificates in just one place, and then each one of them will work together to ensure that that certificate is verified. So you don't have to go to all the MDAs as we used to have. So now there are various integration programs or arrangements in place for each of the MDAs that would collaborate at any point in time to come together and ensure that businesses are done in such a way that the MSMEs don't have to waste their time. So, in the 24 months that we've been working on this, under entry and exit of people, we've had harmonization of 4 forms, 48-hour visa processing timeline across missions abroad. We've had NAFDAC clear all pending registrations in 2017. The Trademark Office also. For enforcing contracts, we've introduced the specialized small claims court, which focus on commercial cases below 5 million naira. We've had procurement reforms as well. At the same time, cost reforms, starting a business, online end-to-end business registration, registering property, digitization of land proceeds, land records, and also dealing with construction permits. We've had things like removal of infrastructural development charges, publicized fees as part of the transparency and accountability measures. Then for getting electricity, we all know that electricity is not, the availability of electricity is one, and then the connections to the grid is another. So our focus at the moment is the connections to the grid, which we've look for ways to reduce the procedures and the time. Then for getting credit, one of them is the Credit Reporting Act, which has led to borrowers having access to credit reports, as well as the operationalization of a new, modern, web-enabled national collateral registry. Uh, okay. So the impact assessment of this, you can say the operationalization of the NCR, National Collateral Registry, has seen about 1.2 trillion naira in terms of values of financing statements um, by both borrowers and lenders. We've seen reduction in time to get electricity, um, in procedures to get electricity. We've also seen reduction in import documentation. We've seen reduction in average time it takes to um, get electricity. The average time it takes to get electricity in the documentation of import and export procedures, and also reduction in time to register property, especially in Kano and in Lagos. So there's also reduction in time for filing. There's been a lot of FIRS itself has gone digital. You can have your e-filing, e-payment, e-notification, e-certificates as it is today. So why all of this? Or why are we doing all of this? It's basically to ensure that, as we know, time is money, and to reduce procedures, the time and cost of doing business, basically for SMEs. So, I haven't done all of that in the last 2 years. Last year, we were rated 146, so we came down 24 places. It was worse. We were 169 amongst 190 countries. And then, in recognition of all the things we've done, we came to 145 as of 2017-2018 rankings. However, in the 2018 and 2019 rankings, I would say Nigeria dropped by 1 point. But this is not to say there were no improvements or acknowledgement of improvements, because going by the index, Nigeria actually improved. But because so many other countries are going through reforms, and aggressively, especially across Africa, Nigeria's points could not count for a drop in this position. So we remained 146, which is just a point. But this is also to show that we have that the reforms that we've done have been sustained, and it also shows that there's so much work to do, but that we've reached a point where we can't go back again. I see us going lower or making having more improvements. Okay, so basically, out of all the reforms that we did, one of the reasons again that we dropped is because some of our reforms were not acknowledged by the World Bank. Maybe because they felt some of these were like too close, they had just been done, they were yet to see the impact. And on the other hand, because private sector were not so aware of some of these things, and so they could not validate their existence. But the purpose of this is to share with you the things that we have been doing, and so that for accountability's sake, we'll be accountable to you, the MDAs themselves will be accountable to you. And then we can feel your pain points and then know how best to make businesses work for SMEs. So, on getting credit reforms, what have we done? Our approach is prompt. Um, Basically, we want to reduce financing obstacles for SMEs by strengthening the infrastructure that supports financial transactions. We're looking at enacting the laws, creating institutions, reviewing regulations, and the focus is basically to diversify collaterals, strengthen insolvency practices, and credit reporting tools. So, one of them, the last one I mentioned, credit reporting tools, is basically why we are here. The passage of the Credit Reporting Act 2017 is a major one in the life of credit reporting in Nigeria. You will agree with me that, as the various speakers have said, it started in 2008. It started squarely in 2008, although some visionaries already started before then. But this act has been, or the bill has been taken to the National Assembly twice before then, before it was eventually passed in May 2017. It's been rejected twice until this third time. And why was it passed this time around? Because of the political will. In fact, the bill, I would say, was tendered at the National Assembly in by October. Oshibajo was the acting president, and the political will, as well as the work done by PEBEC and the various collaborators, CBN, and a host of others, led to the passage of the bill. We are happy about the outcome, the impact, as the various speakers have identified and have told us yesterday. That credit reporting is now a new SME financing product, and it's also opened us to a new set of credit providers. Another one that you may not know is the passage of the transaction in movable assets, which is more focused on collaterals, on diversified. The interest, the credit interest on any asset. So it makes, just like credit reporting, it makes lending easier and more transparent. Today we have 627 financial institutions on that, and we have 129,000, over 129,000 borrowers that have, and financial statements of up to 1.2 trillion, $1.14 billion, and 6 million euros. This is a significant achievement and a major improvement for SME financing. So what's next? We are looking at the third part, which is insolvency practices. So as part of the framework, the exit of an SME needs an orderly, should I say, needs an orderly manner in which you can settle all the scores, settle all interests. So one of the in the KAMA bill, we have a KAMA bill, and in it we have two provisions that are meant to enhance insolvent practices. We are going further to drive the utilization of the collateral registry, and in line with what many of the speakers have said, we also like to integrate the collateral registry with the CAC registry, because integration of registries would enable and improve information accessibility. We have in view the factoring bill and the warehouse receipt bill. These two are also key initiatives that can help improve credit in Nigeria. So what are priority going forward? One is the subnational ease of doing business. We are looking at how to cascade all that we've done at the federal level to the states, because development actually happens at the state level before it becomes a federal issue. And if the federal is working and the states are not working, I think there's a misalignment somewhere. We have legislative reforms, under which is the KAMA bill or the KAM bill, as well as an omnibus bill. We have regulatory reforms. We have a pilot at the moment using NAFDAC and NICOM. NICOM is the insurance regulator, and NAFDAC, as you know, food and drugs. So the two agencies are key to, this is happening because of what we got from the private sector, their pain points, and we believe in doing this too, we'll be able to achieve so much in eliminating the cumbersome regulatory procedure, minimizing duplicative costs that arises from multiple agencies regulating the same product. What else? Lessons learned. What are the lessons learned for us? We've noticed that collaboration is very important. We've had to collaborate with amongst government agencies, collaborate with civil society organizations, collaborate with private sector. In passing the bill, we had to engage lawyers from the private sector to review and give us recommendations on how best to go about it. We partnered with development partners, the World Bank, the UK DFID, in bringing best practices into the things that are being done. I dare say that the Credit Reporting Act would not have been passed without these collaborations, like I said, with CBN, with the Association of Credit Bureaus, with the IFC, and importantly, the NAS, the National Assembly. Without their support, this could not have happened. So, for feedback, because feedback is important for us, for improvement, and generally for everybody to know where we are. So we have what we call pebec.report. That's actually the site. It's a portal for anyone who has a complaint or who wants us to know something about an agency, something that's affecting your business, an obstacle, a constraint. Please just go to pebec.report and then lay your complaints. There are specific organizations there, and then we are expanding. So first, we have a few organizations just for control, but now we are expanding to all other relevant agencies. If you have complaints on NAFDAC, complaints on tax, complaints on on electricity and so on, NERC, you can go on pebec.report, and I dare say that your complaints will be resolved in no time. There's an SLA guiding each of the MDAs, and so they must respond on time. We also have the PEBEC kiosks. I don't know if you've noticed that at the Lagos and Abuja International Airports. There's a desk that supports the PEBEC.report portal. It's for feedback at every point in time to get complaints and look for ways to resolve them. Because these reforms cannot be done without us getting feedback or these reforms cannot be institutionalized or sustained without us getting feedback as to how they are working. So we also do various stakeholder engagements. I mean, this is also an opportunity for us to tell everybody about the things that have been done, the various reforms. I guess 30 minutes may not be enough, or of course it's not enough to shed light on the various areas. But of course, you can engage us at any point in time through pebec.report, through our addresses, pebec.org, and even through me. So at any point in time, we would be available to explain to you what we are doing in any area. And it's very important, again, for us to get your feedback to know which other areas to concentrate on. Because PEBEC doesn't just come up with anything. It's basically about the pain points of the private sector and prioritizing what needs to be done. So this is how pebec.report works. At every point in time is analyzed. As of October 1, you could see there are 3 agencies that were like top agencies because the rate of response was just perfect. While we had the bottom 3, Nigeria Police, Civil Aviation Authority, and Immigration Service. And you can see their rate of response was quite low. And so, I mean, these are areas where we try to take them up to ensure that at every point in time, they are looking for ways to solve SME problems. What worked for us? Some buy-in from some of these MDAs. Some of the leadership of some of the MDAs have been quite supportive. The adoption of technology in some areas has helped too. And then regular updates, check-ins to track progress. But we've had challenges in other areas. Weak consequence management to penalize poor performance. And then sometimes mixed messages from the leadership of some of these MDAs. Then there's the importance of internal and external communication across all levels. Some of the problems we had with World Bank ranking was because a lot of people didn't even understand what was being done. And so we'll say, we'll take responsibility for that, but it's also important for everyone to check what PEBEC is doing at every point in time so you can help us spread the gospel. And then, of course, within the MDAs, there's that weak internal process of monitoring and evaluation. So at every point in time, performance management is just poor or weak. And these are things we are also still working on to see how best to make our reforms sustainable. I will close by saying that it's important for us to, it's important to us that these reforms are institutionalized, because it's very easy for people to go back to what they've been doing. A little change, and then if you don't monitor them, they go back to what has been working for them. That's on the MDA side, but not for the businesses. Then collaboration. Collaboration is important. At every point in time, we look forward to collaborating with anyone who can help solve problems of the SMEs, even if it's just by giving us feedback. And then the mindset of continuous improvement. Um, like we always say at the ED Secretariat, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So improvements come over time, but when you stay on them. So we'll constantly measure and monitor the improvements and ensure hands-on implementation at every point in time. Thank you for your time.
I think we don't have really time. We don't have time. Thank you so much for that. But do we have any quick comments? Any quick questions? Do you have any quick comments? I mentioned that he's traveling and will not be around for the interactive lecture session at the end. But in the absence of that, thank you so much, Alfred, for that presentation. Quebec has been doing, and it's quite commendable. And I told that to Dr. Duale the last time we met. He was really, he has really been impactful, and in such a short time, we have been able to come a long way. We will be sustained really, because sustaining the work is what is really, the zeal is really there, and we see you doing a lot, and we hope you will do more. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Yes, and we'll move quickly to the seventh interactive lecture. I hope we're all able to read our case studies. We went home with it yesterday, and will give further direction on how we're going to take that this morning. But just so you have the benefit of this seventh interactive lecture before we go in for the case preparation. So I'll be calling on Mr. Robert Sola and Mr. John Okebo for the seventh interactive lecture on liability and enforcement. Liability and enforcement before we go for our coffee break. Let's remember that the workshop is being streamed live at www.cwagworkshop.org. You can click the link, you can share it, and you can invite your friends to watch even as you're here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So now we continue with probably the most important aspect, which are liability and enforcement, because law is effective if it's not followed. Right? That's the purpose of law, that it be complied with. And of course, if people break the law, then they have to suffer consequences. That's called enforcement. And under the FCRA in the United States, there is a private right of legal action. That's a technical term we use. I know you're not all lawyers out here, but it means that somebody can sue. They can go to court and sue. Now, that's true in your CRA as well. And the consumer can sue the credit reporting agency. They can sue the furnisher. They can sue the user for violating the FCRA. There's liability. That has to be decided. Was there a violation of the FCRA? We know that's what trials are for. Determine, was the law broken? And then, if it was, what are the damages? And in the United States, we have a right to trial by jury. So those questions would be decided by a jury. Now, consumer lawsuits are the primary means of enforcement. This is very important. The Fair Credit Reporting Act, as well as your Credit Reporting Act, they are to regulate the industry. That's their purpose. Yes, they give consumers a right to sue for compensation, but that's not the primary purpose of those laws. They're regulatory laws. And by regulatory, we mean that they're meant to require the companies that are governed to comply with the law. And we've seen the purposes of those laws: accurate reports, fair use, protect privacy, help business, help the economy, create a solid credit infrastructure. And through the private lawsuits is the enforcement. In other words, let's put it very simply, if a company gets sued several times for violating the law, then they'll start complying with the law. At least that's the objective. So the lawsuits are essential means of enforcement. Now we have an individual lawsuit. That's just one person making a claim for themselves. Okay, now they might have a claim against more than one company. They might sue a credit information provider and a credit reporting agency, but that's called an individual lawsuit. In the United States, we have the class action lawsuit. That's many consumers joining together to make a claim, and Mr. Kebu told me that here that's known as a collective action or a collective lawsuit. Those can be very effective. The class actions can be
settlement. Most cases settle, a negotiated settlement between the parties. But as part of the settlement, the company has that practice to start complying with the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So through class actions, we get compliance with